Hello students, Sairam. I hope you all enjoyed your Diwali vacation. Today in this session we are going to start a new chapter from your science textbook, that is chapter number 11, Light, Shadow and Reflection. Let's see what all topics we are going to cover in this chapter. First we'll study the introduction. In this introduction we'll see what is light. Then in this light subtopics are we will study our luminous and non-luminous objects. Then we will study about the opaque, transparent and translucent object. Then after that we'll study what exactly are shadows. Then we will study pinhole camera. At the last, we will study mirror and the reflection. Now, let's begin with this chapter. In this, children, we see many objects around us. If I'll ask you, how do we see objects around us? You will answer with the help of our eyes. We see the objects or things which are present around us. If we will open our eyes, then we can see the things, and if it is closed, we can't see anything. You will observe many of the objects are placed around you as they are visible to you. Now think of the same place where you are sitting right now at the night time, and if it is completely dark there, will you be able to see things around you? Even your eyes are open, will you be able to see the objects that are placed around you? Yes. If you'll go inside a complete dark room, are you able to see any object in that room? If there is no light in the room, yes, are you able to see any object? If light is not there in the room or the room is completely dark, your answer will be no. But when you light up a candle or a torch, you can see the objects present in the room, isn't it? If you light a candle or a torch, you will see the objects that are present inside the room. Without lights, things cannot be seen. Light helps us to see the objects. So, in the absence of light, we cannot see the things. So, this is the light that helps us to see or to view the objects. Without light, things cannot be seen. We cannot see the objects in the dark. So children, here we can say that both eyes and light are necessary to see things around us. In daytime, we can see the things because of sunlight. Sunlight helps us to see things which are present around us. At night, we get light from stars and the moons, even though the amount of light which we are receiving from the stars and the moons is too low, but we get light from these sources. So, to see at night, we light up electric bulbs, tube lights, etc. So, if I'll ask you one question, that to see an object around us, what do we need? Light only, eyes only, or both light and eyes? So, your answer will be both light and eyes are necessary to see the things which are present around us. So, now we will move on to the next topic, that is sources of light. What are sources of light, children? Yes, the object which gives off light is called as the source of light. There are many objects which gives out light to us. These objects we can classify into two categories, that is natural sources of light or artificial sources of light. As the name itself suggests, that natural sources of light are the sources of light which are already present in the nature and that gives out light. Next is artificial sources of light are the sources that are created by humans, and these sources gives out light to us. So now we will see natural sources of light. Sun, stars, lightning, fireflies. Fireflies are the examples of natural sources of light which gives out light to us. Children, fireflies are the insect which gives out the light. Here children, sun is the major source of light to us. Now we'll see about artificial sources of light are the sources of light which are made by humans to give out light, and examples of artificial sources of light are candle, bulb, tube light, torch, lighter, mobile phones are the artificial sources of light. Now, children, I hope you all understood about artificial and natural sources of light. Now, you have to answer my one question. Which of the following is the living source of light? Children, it is mentioned over here as the living source of light, and options given to you are bulb, sun, firefly and stars. See children, here sun, then your fireflies, stars are the natural sources of light, but out of this firefly is the living source of light, and bulb, as we know that this is artificial source of light. Now next we will see how does light help us to see object around us. As I told you, if there is total darkness in the room, and if total darkness is there, we cannot see anything, any object which are present in the room. That means here, if that means light is necessary to see the objects which are present around us. As you can see here on the screen, here when the boy switched on the torch, the light produced by the torch falls on the boy's face, and because of this light we can see this boy's face on the screen. Isn't it? That means objects are seen when light falls on that object. Now I'll try to make you understand this. What happens after when light falls on an object? Now, children, to better understand this, here I have taken one source of light. Yeah, here you can see that source of light is a bulb. When the light from the bulb falls on this object, which is a pencil stand, yes, so light will reflect in all directions. We can say that light will bounce in all direction. This we call as reflection of light. Children, what is reflection of light? Reflection of light means the change of direction of light when it hits something, or bouncing back of the light rays after hitting a surface. This is known as the reflection of light. Yes, children. So when the light is emitted or given out from the source, here we can see that this is the source of light which gives out light, and this light when falls on that this is the object pencil holder, and when this light falls on this object, it bounced back in all direction, or we can say that it gets reflected in all direction. And children, when this reflected rays falls or reaches to our eyes, that time we see that object. Yeah, children, once again I will repeat this. Yes, so when the light is emitted or given out from the source, which this light reaches to or falls on the object first, and it gets reflected, then what happens? This reflected light reaches to our eyes, then only we can see that object. Here we can see that this is the source of light, and this source of light falls on an object, then what will happen? It will bounce back in all direction, or we can say that it gets reflected in all directions. When this reflected rays falls on our eyes, that time we can see that object. Here in this example I have taken that object as pencil holder, so that when the rays or the light, source of light which emits the light, that light falls on the pencil holder, and then it gets reflected and reaches to our eyes. That's why we can see here that pencil holder. Here next, children, to understand reflection of light, let's see one more example. Here I have taken one example as tree. Here when light from the sun falls on this tree, then what will happen? Because of this tree, the sunlight gets reflected in all directions, like here I have shown you. So children, when this reflected light falls on our eyes, that time we can see this tree. When the light rays from the sun falls on the tree, then what will happen? This tree will reflect the light which is falling from the sun in all direction, and when this reflected light falls on our eyes, then only we can see this tree. So now we can conclude that objects are seen when light falls on them, And when the light falls on an object, some light get reflected. This reflected light come back to our eyes, and we are able to see that object which are present around us. I hope children you understood this concept. Now answer my question. We are able to see the objects around us due to dash. And your answer will be because of reflection of light, we are able to see the objects which are present around us. Now next, we'll see the classification of objects which are present around us. In this, we'll study luminous and non-luminous objects. What are luminous objects, children? Objects which emit or gives out their own light are called as luminous objects. That means the objects which gives out their own light are luminous objects. Luminous objects are the sources of light which gives out their own light, like sun, candle, fire, bulb, torch, fireflies, stars are the luminous sources of light. They have their own light and they emit their own light. That's why they are luminous objects. Dear children, the luminous object, we can see them in the dark as they emit their own light, so they are visible in the dark. Now next we'll see what are non-luminous objects. Objects which do not emit their own light are known as non-luminous object. Examples of non-luminous objects are moon, table, chair, sofa, tree, clothes, pen, pencil, and many objects which are present around you, which do not give out their own light. And these non-luminous objects can be seen when light from the luminous object falls on them and gets reflected on your eyes. Then only we can see this non-luminous object. Now we'll talk about the non-luminous source of object, that is moon. Is moon a luminous object? No, moon is non-luminous object. It does not have its own light. When light from the sun falls on moon, it reflects the light from the sun falling on it. When we see this reflected light coming out from the moon, we consider that as the moon's own light. But this is not true. Moon shines because of the reflection of sunlight, or we can say that the sunlight which falls on the moon, and again this reflected light reaches to our eyes. We see that the moon is shining one, but this moon is shining because of the sunlight which are falling on it. So we can say that moon does not have its own light. It just reflects the sunlight which falls on it. Children, here I am ending today's session. The remaining topics I am going to continue in the coming sessions. Goodbye children. Thank you.